himself with women voters again in an attempt to appeal to ardent pro-life groups in the Republican Party. Here's a preview of what he told Chris Matthews on the topic of abortion and whether or not women who get abortions should be punished.
Everybody does better in this country. Should the woman be punished for having an abortion?
Look,
this is not something you can dodge. If you say abortion is a crime or abortion is murder, you have to deal with it under the law. Should abortion be punished?
Well, people in certain parts of the Republican Party and conservative Republicans would say yes, they should be punished.
How about you?
I would say that it's a very serious problem, and it's a problem that we have to decide on. It's very hard.
But you're forbidding
Are you going to say, well, wait, are you going to say put them in jail? Is that
well,
the
no,
punishment
I'm asking
you're talking about?
Because you say you want to ban it. What's that mean?
I am pro-life, yes.
What is ban? How do you ban abortion? How do you actually do it?
Well, you know, you'll go back to a position like they had where people will perhaps go to illegal places.
Yeah.
But you have to ban it.
You ban it and they go to somebody who flunked out of medical school.
Are you Catholic?
Yes, I think
And how do you feel about the Catholic Church's position?
I accept the teaching authority of my church on moral issues.
But do you know their position on abortion?
Yes, I do.
And do you concur with that position?
I concur with their moral position, but legally I get to the question. Here's my problem with it.
No, but let me ask you, but what do you say about
It's not funny.
Your church? Yeah, it's really not a funny thing. What do you say about your church? They're very, very strong.
They're allowed to, but the churches make their moral judgments, but you running for president of the United States will be chief executive of the United States. Do you believe believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no, as a principle?
The answer is that there has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah, there has to be some form.
10 cents, 10 years,
I don't know. That I don't know. That
why
I don't
not?
know. I don't know.
You take positions and everything else.
Frankly, I do take positions and everything else. It's a very complicated position.
Well, there you have it. Full context there, as you saw. It's worth noting that even some of the most ardent pro-lifers in the Republican Party do not talk about punishing women. They usually talk about punishing the medical facilities or the doctors that perform abortions. In fact, here's former presidential candidates Mike Huckabee and Rick Santorum. They're two of the party's fiercest critics of abortion. But they have been very clear when it comes to questions of who should be punished.
And what would happen to doctors or women who participated in abortion?
It's always the point of trying to say, are you going to criminalize? That's not the issue.
Well, if it's illegal, it would be.
It would be, and I think you don't punish the woman, first of all, because it's not about, I consider her a victim, not a criminal.
I believe that that any doctor who performs an abortion, that I would advocate that any doctor that performs an abortion should be criminally charged for doing so. I've never supported criminalization of abortion for mothers, but I do for people who perform them.
You can say, as you can see, that has been essentially the mainstream pro-life position, frankly, for years. I caught up with John Kasich after we taped our town hall. Here's what he had to say about Trump's comments.
Should women who get abortions be punished?
Absolutely not. And I mean, I do have exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother, but of course women shouldn't be punished. I think probably Donald Trump will figure out a way to say that he didn't say it or he was misquoted or whatever, but I don't think so. I don't think that's an appropriate response, and it's a difficult enough situation and to try to punish somebody.
Let me ask you this. How do you enforce a ban on abortion?
Well, look, I think it's rape, incest, life of the mother, and you build some restrictions around it, but I think you have to be very careful in the way you do it. We're a long way from there.
The Cruz campaign also put out this rapid response, quote, "Don't overthink it. Trump doesn't understand the pro-life position because he's not pro-life." And then a little over an hour ago, Trump put out this statement on abortion via his campaign, quote, "This issue is unclear and should be put back into the states for determination. Like Ronald Reagan, I am pro-life with exceptions, which I have outlined numerous times." And then, moments ago, literally about 2 minutes before air, Trump put out another statement, this time not just a full walk back, call it an electric slide of walkbacks of sorts. Quote, "If Congress were to pass legislation making abortion illegal and the federal courts upheld this legislation, or any state were permitted to ban abortion under state and federal law, the doctor or any other person performing this illegal act upon a woman would be held legally responsible, not the woman. The woman is a victim in this case, as is the life in her womb. My position has not changed. Like Ronald Reagan, I am pro-life with exceptions." NBC's Katie Tur is, of course, on the Trump campaign beat. She is in Wisconsin today. And Katie, this is rare air here where the Trump campaign actually backtracks. They don't like to backtrack very often with statements, but they did it not once, but twice.
We've seen a couple of these lately, most notably right after the Detroit debate when he was talking about the H-1B visas for highly skilled workers. On stage, he said that he was flexible with that he believes that there should be more highly skilled workers in this country. Almost immediately after the debate, after that set off a bit of a firestorm in itself, a smaller one be it, the Donald Trump campaign came out and clarified his statement, saying that he was fully against the expansion of H-1B visas. So we have seen this in the past. This is certainly a more glaring walk back, especially because you got that first walk back that tried to clarify his words, saying that he was anti-abortion rights, and then again coming out and realizing that they hadn't fully addressed the controversy at hand, which was that he was putting punishment on the women in this case, which he's pretty much alone on politically, even when it comes to, as you said, hard-line anti-abortion rights Republicans like Senator Rick Santorum and Governor Mike Huckabee. Even against those two people, Donald Trump was standing on his own with this, and the campaign came out and re-clarified his words. This does seem to be a somewhat ongoing theme with the campaign, that Donald Trump will say something in an interview and the campaign will later have to walk it back, or Donald Trump himself will have to walk it back. We saw it the other day when we asked him about whether the U.S. should continue helping Israel with defense aid. He immediately walked that back a few minutes later when he was asked about it again. The candidate seems to shoot from the hip, if you will, when it comes to his opinions, and then fully digest the content of the question and the meaning of the question a little bit later.
No, he does, and I think everything is now through the prism of what would Pat Toomey, Ron Johnson, Kelly Ayotte, Rob Portman have to do with a statement. And I think you see now the Trump campaign realizing that they have to win over the insiders here, who are now getting more and more concerned that this is only seems to come what the general election might look like if he's the nominee.
Now, absolutely, and I think one of the things you're seeing with that is that he's opening a congressional office in D.C. to sort of mend fences with the establishment, to try and build some relationships there. But when it comes to his words and the meaning behind his words, I will note that those supporters for Donald Trump don't hold him to the standard of having to be correct or politically correct or in line with the establishment on these issues. They give him the benefit of the doubt over and over and over again, even on issues that they might vehemently disagree with him on. So Donald Trump has a unique position in politics now and ever, where he doesn't necessarily have to worry about what he says.
And Katie, we've been here on many a Wednesday or a Thursday before a primary talking about something that may cause Donald Trump problems in said upcoming primary, only to see Lucy pull away from the football from the Not Trump movement. Anyway, Katie Tur on the scene in Wisconsin.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Katie.